For hosting us today, but for protecting Canadians every day. It's hard to overstate the contribution that the RCMP makes to the safety of our country, and I want to thank you on behalf of all Canadians. It is a pleasure to be joined by the Secretary of State for Labour, John Zaricelli, from caucus colleagues from the Peel region and Toronto. What a fine group there. And the Secretary of State for Combating Crime, Ruby Sahota. In 3 weeks, Canada's new government will table our first budget. And that's our plan to build Canada's economy, to empower Canadians with new opportunities, and to protect our communities and our very way of life. Our plan for Canada Strong. Le monde est de plus en plus dangereux et divisé.
More and more divided and dangerous. The U.S., our most important international partner, is transforming all its trade relationships, which is causing great economic uncertainty, breaking investment, and perturbs the supply chains. It's not a transition, it's a point of no return.
Throughout this period of upheaval, Canadians have taken 3 important lessons. The first is that we must focus on what we can control. In a rapidly changing world, that means building our strength here at home. Building an economy that's no longer reliant on a single trade partner, but resilient to global shocks. And to that end, we're fast-tracking major infrastructure projects. We're eliminating barriers to interprovincial trade, and we're building millions of homes across the country. Nous ne pouvons pas dépendre d'un autre pays pour créer
another country
notre propre prospérité.
To create our own prosperity. We're building an economy that is both strong and by Canadians.
The second lesson that this past year has taught us is that we have to look out for ourselves. To build a stronger country, we must protect our communities, our borders, our country, our way of life.
To build a stronger Canada, we need to protect our sovereignty, our communities, our borders, and our way of life. There is no prosperity without security.
Safe, resilient communities attract people and families. Families who want to put down roots, get a home, build a rewarding career, send their kids to a good school. Safe communities attract new investment, new jobs, and new businesses. The conditions are there that help you feel safe, secure, in control of your life, and empowered to know that if you work hard, you will get ahead. You should be able to rely on that safety because you do all the right things. You work hard. Maybe you buy a car to get your kid to a job, yourself to school. You buy your first home, perhaps in a neighborhood a little further from work than you had wanted, but you're starting out in what seems to be an affordable, safe community where you can raise a young family. But then you hear about a car just like yours that was stolen in your neighborhood, or a home in your city that was broken into, or a neighbor whose grandparent was scammed out of their hard-earned retirement savings because they opened the wrong email. And it's even worse when you hear that the person who stole that car, broke into that home, or defrauded a loved one has done it many times before and just got released on bail. Canadians deserve to feel safe in their community, to know that their homes are secure, to know that their money that they've earned is safe in their own bank account. In this spring's election, we earned a mandate from Canadians to deliver change, to secure our country and protect our communities, just like this one. And we will do our part. Before I outline some details that Ruby referenced, I want to be clear. We're here in Toronto, where the Toronto Police Service secures the city. Not far from here, as do the Peel Regional Police. They're the ones who respond to 911 calls and show up at your door during times of crisis. They take the criminals off the street. They bring them into custody. And the Ontario Provincial Police serves the province. They handle cross-province crimes and investigations. The federal government's job is to protect our borders and to deal with terrorism, white-collar crime, financial fraud, and, crucially, the criminal code. So today, I'm announcing how the federal government is strengthening the criminal code to better protect all Canadians. And tomorrow, I'll make an important announcement on border security. This is how the federal government can help municipalities and provinces get criminals off the streets, disrupt and dismantle criminal networks, reinforce the justice system with tough and comprehensive bail reform, and build a stronger, safer, more secure Canada. Keeping Canadians safe is one of our new government's core missions, one we have focused relentlessly on from day one. Just 3 weeks after the election, when Parliament opened, we immediately introduced the strongest legislation in Canadian history to secure our borders and crack down on gun trafficking and illegal drugs, such as fentanyl. We want to put radar out of work. In September, when Parliament returned, we introduced new legislation to combat the horrifying rise in hate and violent intimidation, including to protect against anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. Notre projet de loi, la loi visant à lutter contre la haine, rendrait illégale toute entrave aux espaces religieux et érigée
any interference with religious sites, bullying, interference,
et autres centres communautaires.
and worship and community centers. And tomorrow, we will announce new measures to protect our border.
Nous sommes au Canada.
We're in Canada.
Dans notre pays,
Our country.
pouvoir vous prévenir.
In our country, you should be able to wake up in the morning,
Dans votre voiture,
get into your car,
l'église ou au
to
temple,
go to work or church or temple, and then go home to sleep peacefully at night.
parce que nos lois échouent à plusieurs
When our laws
pour protéger
fail
ces
repeatedly
droits
to
fondamentaux,
protect these fundamental rights,
nous avons besoin de nouvelles.
we need new ones.
Nous avons besoin de changement.
We need
Et c'est
change.
exactement pour
And
cette
this is
raison que
exactly
nous sommes
why
ici aujourd'hui.
we're here today.
Today, I'm announcing two major new measures that Canada's new government is taking to build safer communities for you and your loved ones. First, we're strengthening the criminal code to get tough on bail and sentencing, keeping violent criminals and repeat offenders off our streets and out of our communities. And second, we are investing in frontline law enforcement, hiring 1,000 new RCMP personnel to keep our country and communities safe. To start, To start, the Minister of Justice will be tabling legislation within the next week with strong reforms on bail and sentencing. We're getting violent criminals and repeat offenders off the streets, full stop. Right now, in most bail hearings, the starting point is to release. And the Crown must prove why someone should not be released on bail, making it too easy for repeated violent offenders to quickly get back on the street, sometimes back into the same communities that they just committed crimes in. Our new law will flip that script by creating new reverse onus bail provisions for violent and organized crime-related offenses. We're making bail stricter to keep you safe. With so-called reverse onus bail, it will no longer be up to the Crown to prove why someone should stay behind bars. It will be up to the accused to prove to the court why they can be trusted to be released. Their risk of reoffending and their history of past 10 years will be considered. These strong new reverse onus bail provisions will apply to violent auto theft, to break and enter, to human trafficking and smuggling, to assault, to sexual assault, and to extortion involving violence or violent threats. Simply put, these changes will keep violent repeat offenders of these crimes off our streets and out of our communities. Canada's new government will also toughen sentences for repeat offenders of auto theft, of organized crime, and of home invasion, so that criminals who have repeatedly victimized your community do not have the chance to do so again. We are delivering the change to keep violent repeat offenders off our streets. We'll also allow for consecutive sentencing for violent and repeat offenders, so that a 7-year sentence and a 5-year sentence can mean 12 years behind bars, not just 7. This change will keep dangerous criminals off our streets for longer. And to protect workers and businesses, we will implement harsher sentencing for organized retail theft. No worker in a neighborhood convenience store should have to worry about being robbed by gangs or feeling that no one can intervene and no one will face justice. In addition, we will reverse laws from previous governments that are simply not working. And the first of those is conditional sentences for sexual assault. Right now, someone convicted of sexual assault can be eligible for a conditional sentence, meaning they may be able to serve their sentence at home, in the very community where their victim lives. That is not justice. Our legislation will put an end to this. If you commit sexual assault, you will serve your sentence in a correctional facility. La violence sexuelle constitue une
Sexual violence is a serious crime that's had major repercussions, deep repercussions on victims' lives. Victims of sexual assault should never need to walk past their assailant in every day where at the grocery store, on the way to work, or elsewhere in their community, which is why our government is ensuring that sexual delinquents or sexual offenders in an establishment or institution so their victims are safe from harm.
The second major change I'm announcing today is that we are delivering on our election commitment to hire 1,000 new RCMP personnel across Canada. Because tougher laws are only one part of safer communities. We also need the people and the resources to enforce those laws. With this significant investment, the RCMP will have the investigative and technical capabilities required to work actively with municipal and provincial police services, such as on critical national security issues, including foreign interference, violent extremism, cybercrime, organized crime, and online child sexual exploitation. This funding will also include hiring 150 RCMP personnel specifically dedicated to investigating financial crimes, targeting money laundering networks, organized crime, online fraud, and the recovery of illicit assets. Financial crimes take many forms, and they are rising with devastating impacts on millions of Canadians. Retired Canadians who spent a lifetime saving carefully are losing thousands of dollars in seconds, sometimes just for answering a call from the wrong person. Les ressources pour le GRC.
Resources, protection for Canadians.
These new measures will keep violent criminals and repeat offenders off our streets. They will protect the people we love, and they will deliver the justice that Canadians deserve. You know, earlier I spoke about the two lessons that Canadians have learned from the past year. First, that we must focus on what we control, and second, that we have to look out for ourselves. But there's a third lesson. We have to take care of each other. And that means empowering everyone in our country to have opportunities to get ahead. It also means taking care of each other. And that means making our communities truly safe by tackling the root causes of crime. Par des investissements dans la santé mentale,
through investment in mental health,
dépendance, le logement abordable,
treatment for addictions, affordable housing, and programs for youth at risk. This kind of investment helps break the cycle of violence and help people find their way.
We are building communities across Canada, communities with homes that people can actually afford, providing services people need to help break the cycles of poverty and violence, and the support for those needed the most. Earlier this week, not far from here, we announced the first project within the GTA of our new federal housing entity, Build Canada Homes, in Downsview. This development will start by delivering 540 factory-built housing units, with at least 40% of those being deeply affordable. And ultimately, it will catalyze the construction of over 63,000 new homes in the Downsview area. Et en ce moment,
and at this time, in Alberta, the ministers of justice and the general attorney, public safety, are meeting right now to build the path to follow, and this work will be done in partnership with the provinces, territories, municipalities, and local law enforcement, because to be efficient, our solutions must reflect the reality of the communities that are being served.
So let me conclude. Look, the world is more dangerous and it's divided. It's changing rapidly. We can't control those forces outside our borders. But in Canada, we decide what happens here. And we're choosing to build stronger communities where Canadians can feel safe in their homes, safe in their neighborhoods, and in control of their futures. We're fixing ineffective policies from the past and building a stronger, safer future with tough new laws, big new resources, and practical solutions. We will bring in tougher sentences for violent and repeat offenders and invest in thousands of frontline officers to combat crime in all of its forms. We'll secure our border and protect our sovereignty. We will protect our communities and our way of life. We'll protect your safety and the people you love. And we will build Canada strong. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. I look forward to your questions.